It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality, TV, and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hi, everyone. I am Ramona Ramirez. Hello, Margie. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm real good. We're trying out video today, and I'm just now sort of taking in our images, and we are so who we are right now. Like, you're in this like fabulous colorful shirt that has writing on it with a lip to match and like an amazing like accessories, and I'm here in like a gray sweatshirt and
Margie,
I look like a corpse.
No,
Hey,
come
it's
on.
fine. It's totally
no,
I'm just
absolutely
saying,
not.
but this is who we are. Like, and I love that about us.
I'm wearing my Zanku t-shirt because I fucking can't go a goddamn day living in the Bay Area without representing Los Angeles. It's kind of embarrassing sometimes.
I love it.
I fucking love my Zanku t-shirt so much. I love it. I love
Zanku chicken. Yeah.
Love Zanku. Oh my God.
And we don't have to get into it, but you know the whole story about
I do.
How that family. Anyways, if anybody's interested, there's a podcast called Business Wars where they break it down and it's fucking nuts. Families are crazy. And when people get greedy about garlic sauce, fucking forget about it.
Toom. Yeah,
Murder.
Dude. Don't fuck with Toom. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm not sure, but I should know how to pronounce it because it's good. And I also like knowing how to pronounce things from cultures that aren't mine. You know, I find it to be a kind thing to do to
like
know
Dorit
how to
in the oil shop.
Oh my God, Margie.
Can't.
Yeah. But yeah. So besides that podcast, if I'm sure it's archived online somewhere, that article that was in the weekly, this is 15 years
if not
ago?
More, yeah.
10
it was a lifetime ago.
It's about the family that started Zanku. So if you Google Zanku Murders LA Weekly, or no, it was LA Magazine. I'm positive it was LA Magazine. Yeah,
I know it had an LA in it.
I'm so glad that we've spent about 1,000 years talking.
Well, it's much more interesting than the first 2/3 of this episode. Oh my God.
Honestly.
We're talking about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and what's hilarious to me is it seemed like we were trying to set this episode up to focus on Anne Marie, but she's so goddamn boring. She immediately faded into the woodwork, and I don't care about her at all. This was supposed to be her birthday trip, and I couldn't wait till we were done with her birthday trip because she's so boring, and Ojai's beautiful, but it really upstaged Anne Marie.
I was perfectly fine last week when she was not on the show. I don't think she was on for even 5 minutes last week, right? Exactly. She's full on persona non grata when she's not there. Am I using that term correctly? I don't even know if I am. A person of no importance?
I don't know. Or does it mean an unwelcome person? I don't know. I got to learn some shit. But
I got to learn a lot of shit.
Yeah, no, she's a total snooze. And when she does show up, she does everything wrong. It's like they say in the arts that you can teach technique, but you can't teach talent. And I feel like that's what Anne Marie is. She has no talent. She studied how to be a housewife, but she's still doing it wrong. At Kyle's celebration of life party to bring up Sutton's esophagus.
Oh my
it's like,
God.
No, you got it wrong. I see what you're doing, but you did it wrong and you suck. And there's nothing about your personality that makes me want to watch you. You have no talent and minimal technique, Anne Marie.
Yeah, she makes my skin crawl and I can't stand her. And there's nothing else I need to say about that. One thing that I noticed last night, I watched it back to back. It's season 13, episode 11. It's called A Celebration of Life. The first, half of the episode was bullshit. And then the latter half, not bullshit, but just not super important. The appointment that PK and Dorit share, and then the event that is sponsored by NAMI, right? For
or she's collecting donations for that organization.
It's bringing awareness and fundraising, and in Loreen's honor, and it was grave, dude. It was a super grave episode at the end, and
oh my God, yeah.
I will be recorded for in perpetuity or until we pull this episode down, or I don't know what. I'm sure someone knows how to fucking keep shit even if we delete it. I'm gonna say that I'm not a monster, so I had a lot of compassion for Kyle Richards in this episode. It was, like,
Yeah.
spelled out for me in black and white, and I'm not heartless, I'm not full monster, I am reasonable, I think. I
Yeah,
was able to find our shared humanity. So,
this one really, it was like fluffy trip to Ojai, and then they just dropped the hammer, and I was
yeah,
like, "Oh."
yeah,
But we do start at Kyle's house. Who cares? Everybody's complimenting each other on their clothes. Then they get in the van, the Sprinter van, to head to Ojai. Erica is not with us because she has COVID. And I was infuriated, and I have to get over this, but they FaceTimed with her and she was like, "Yeah, I tested positive 3 times yesterday. I had a scratchy throat. I thought it was allergies." It's been 4 years. Can we stop thinking it's allergies? It's COVID. You can be pleasantly surprised if it's not COVID and it is allergies, but it's COVID. It's always COVID. I'm so tired of people saying I had a scratchy throat and I thought that worked in 2020. It is now 2024. Put on a mask, test yourself, stay home, fuck off. I'm so
like,
mad. Anyways,
yeah, it's kind of hilarious. It is. Like, God, I don't know what it is. I don't know what happened.
I thought it was just a scratchy throat. Really? After 4 years of a plague, you haven't considered that?
God, let's
But I
see.
didn't miss her in Ojai. I didn't care.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Did not miss Erica Jane at all, Erica Girardi. The one thing I noticed, because I did I already say that I watched this back to back? Did I say that to you or did I say this
I can't
once we started?
remember. What do you think
Okay.
I
I know.
differentiate between
I'm so
regular
sorry.
talking and recording? No.
I watched it back to back, and Dorit's tagline is "Fashion is my language, and I speak it fluently." And it's terrible because it's the same season where everybody is rumbling to some level about how she does not have glam this season. So
Again,
the petty part of me had to notice that.
as evidenced by our looks today, one of us understands glam and one of us does not. Because I haven't even noticed. Her brown hair has been distracting enough that I didn't notice if she's had a full beat, professional beat or not.
It's just no, because we've talked about it before. Like when she went to the party at Sutton's place and she was talking, she was trying to paint the picture that she didn't know that there were a lot of people that were going to be there. And I think you and I speculated that she was probably upset about that because she didn't have glam and wasn't prepared for a red carpet situation and the paparazzi being there. And her hair just looked a little off. Who fucking knows? Again, how much time have we spent on this? I don't
But
need to talk about
that's
Dorit.
we'll get.
I don't need to
Well,
put down
she'll.
this person because she doesn't have glam. It's just, I
Can we
feel
put
very
her down
strongly.
because she speaks Italian in an olive oil shop in Ojai? Can we do
Okay.
that? My God.
What I noticed about Dorit, why Dorit speaking Italian to the woman at the olive oil shop bothered me so much, is because it didn't, and I feel this very strongly in my gut. And I also don't like her. So I own that. And I own that I could be projecting that. But it feels like Dorit wasn't truly interested in speaking Italian with the shop owner. She was only interested in speaking Italian on camera and making sure that everyone can hear her pronunciation and her understanding of it. And when shit is contrived, I fucking cannot stand it. It makes me so mad. She's disingenuous and contrived, and that's why it bothered me.
So right, and it was so clear the energy. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because, on paper, like if I was talking about this with my therapist, and I've talked about petty shit that has stayed on my mind for multiple years. I'm sure I have friends out there listening. They know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. I know my sister knows exactly what I'm talking about right now. There is stuff that on the psychic scoreboard, in no way, shape, or form should I even give a rat's ass about this person's actions. So I'm talking with my therapist and I'm like, well, this person did that and it really bothered me and I don't know why. Okay, well, let's break it down. And 9 times out of 10, it comes down to the fact that someone's behavior is like my father, who is safe to say is a narcissist at the very best. And so when Dorit is in Ojai at an expensive olive oil store and she is going off in Italian and it's fake and she's got her little jacket around her shoulders, it's just like, dude, my bullshit meter just goes off and I fucking can't stand it.
I'm
And
with you. I hate a
Crystal
performance.
Crystal isn't performing, Garcelle isn't performing, Sutton isn't performing, Kyle, it depends, Erica Girardi, it depends. But you know what I mean? Like, my favorite housewives aren't contrived
No, and that was like a
to the
solo
extent that
act.
Dorit is. And
Yeah.
I take it personally. It's offensive to me
Yeah, because it makes
because
us she
it's not
assumes that we're
real.
stupid enough to buy it. But
Yes.
the woman who the shopkeeper was invested in Dorit and trying to really understand her interests in olive oils, and Dorit, like you said, was just performing Italian. And it was
Yep.
so bizarre to watch them. I mean, I was excited when they went into like a bespoke olive oil shop. That sounds so like cute and Ojai and wonderful. And then Dorit ruined it. So there we
She
go.
did, dude. She did. So, yeah, I think my therapist would say, Ramona, I think you're triggered by that because she's a bullshitter and your dad's a bullshitter. And that is like end of story.
Yep. I hate people who perform in
Anyway,
public because it
me
often means that
too.
they perform in a different way behind closed doors, you know?
Totally.
So, yeah.
Totally. And then I could relate with Kyle when she talked about shopping and like loving to shop, like even at like a fucking mini mart or a gas station. I love being on a road trip and stopping at those places. So I share something in common with Kyle Richards. I'm
There it
humbled
is.
and I'm not a monster. There we go.
I will just
Anyway,
note that she walked in the clothing store in Ojai, and the first thing she picks up is a cowboy hat. It's like you have 10,000, you have a whole Kimosabi closet, and you're going to go to Ojai and pick up a cowboy hat? Oh, man. She's just whatever. She's on brand. And then we head
100%.
to the vineyard, and my favorite character of the entire episode is here. Blane is this man who approaches to describe the wines, and he clearly took a beta blocker before cameras started rolling because he is relaxed and detached in a way that only, in my experience, only medication can provide. And, he just delivered everything. He said something about, this is one of my favorite wines. It reminds me of Hawaii in a bottle.
Oh,
It's just
yeah. Oh,
like
yeah.
nothing had any emotional. He was attached in no way to anything he was saying, and I loved him for it. So, beta blocker
I
Blane
thought
is my favorite
I
guy.
thought about Blane is if Brooks Marks was cool and down to earth, then he would be Blane. Like I loved Blane and like Brooks Marks could take some lessons from Blane.
I mean, yes, I think presence wise, yes. But in terms
Yeah.
of if you took a transcript of everything that Blane said in this episode, he said, "This bottle of wine reminds me of Hawaii in a bottle." And then the other thing he noted was that red wine pairs well with Italian food and pizza. That's what Blane, the
Oh
vineyard
my
expert, had to
God.
tell us. And then Sutton goes, "I love pizza." And I was like, what is this show right now? I can't, this is a very strange sketch.
Oh my God. Ah, okay. So then, of course, it wouldn't be a fucking girls' trip without an extremely toxic game.
Don't you think the Watch What Happens Live writers wrote these questions? Because this was a producer. That's not a real game you can get, is it?
I I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It
It
looked like
just
it
was
came in a little
so,
fancy lucite box. I have no
but
idea.
the questions were basically like, Kyle, are you okay with Mauricio talking to other women? Like that seemed to
Oh
basically,
my
they
God.
all were
I
pretty
know. I
pointed.
know. I
Oh,
know.
there was a moment where
Yeah,
Kyle
and then
said
she
that
squeaks out a yeah. It was just oof. It seemed like people knew.
I mean, Kyle is walking us to the finish line of her marriage in this episode. She
Yeah.
talks about how she no longer feels connected to Los Angeles and she wants to move to the mountains once Portia's out of school.
God, yeah.
And then saying that, exposing that Mauricio is, like so many. Ugh, it's just so disappointing. All these people who follow booty and titty girls and correspond with them in DMs and think that that's totally fine because they're not acting physically on anything, but it's a and I hated Kyle for saying these women they're the aggressors. I'm like, okay, but he leaves the door wide the fuck open. You can close
Yeah.
your DMs. You can
Yeah.
not follow them, not like their ass pictures. Like there's a way for
Right. Not follow
Mauricio
them
to like,
back.
yeah,
Right,
and
right,
not
right, right.
respond. There's a way to discourage this, but he appears to not be whatever. He appears to be playing around in that world. And that is, we've probably all experienced that at this
Oof.
point in our lives. If you've been dating in the, 2010s and beyond, but it's just a bummer. And then Kyle asks out of the blue, would you date a woman? That did seem like an
Yeah.
editing trick because there was like a big dead silent pause. And then she said, would you date a woman? And
And then
Sutton
she
says
squeaks
no.
out
And
that,
Garcelle
"Yeah,
says maybe. And she
yeah,
says, yeah. She says, if
yeah."
her name is Morgan, probably.
Do you have anything else to say about Ojai or the winery?
Just I just wanted to note the closing sequence of this was so bonkers. It goes from Kyle and Dorit's scissoring, and then suddenly Kyle says, so anyway, Tuesday is my celebration of life event. My friend Morgan Wade is going to be playing. And then Kyle suddenly says, happy birthday, Anne Marie. And then Anne Marie says something totally forgettable. And then we head off to commercial. It was just so like everything happened in 4 sentences. It was like Kyle and Dorit are scissoring, and then Kyle talks about this
It was so
tragic
weird.
event in her life, and then we say happy birthday to Anne Marie, who no one cares about, and then we're done with Ojai. So
Totally.
off to Garcelle and her boys.
So this scene really, like, got me in the guts, you know? Jackson Jade come home for dinner. She's making some lasagna, and she shares that she's already having some profound feelings coming up around them leaving the nest in the next three years or so. And I paused the TV and I said to Josh, oh my God, they just leave. They leave and they never come back. That is so, like just saying it even, like my stomach just drops, you know? It's like my kid is on the brink of turning 8. It's going to be in a few weeks. Every once in a while, I still get flashes like he'll do something or be focusing on something, or when I'm tucking into bed, and I can see like a flash of the baby face. And I'm just like, I'm like, oh my God, I just saw it. I just saw it. You look like a baby right now. You look like my baby right now. And they just leave and they don't come back. And I can't fucking imagine. I can't imagine, dude. And I've got like maybe 10 more years. And I already like feel like I want to throw up thinking about that because they don't come back.
Yeah,
Maybe for summer vacation through college or whatever,
but
but
it's different
in the grand scheme,
once they've been off on
yeah,
their own, or once I was off on my own, I came home in a very different way.
totally.
But I will say, this did make me laugh so hard. When I went to college, I'm very close with my mom, but when I went to college, she's like, I was ready for you to go. Like, and I felt that vibe in this scene with Garcelle, who'd slaved over lasagna, told them it'll be ready in 10 minutes. And one of them immediately pours a giant bowl of cereal, burps in her face, laughs at her. And she was like, in that moment, I was like,
Uh,
oh, I see. That's probably where my mom had her moments of like, I'm ready for you to go. Because it's like
yeah,
she
you can
tried
go.
so hard. And like all you
Yeah,
get back is attitude and ridicule. And I don't know. You can tell there's so much love there, but it's
so
hard.
much.
It's hard to love on. I can't even imagine what it's like to try to love on twin 15-year-old boys. My sister has 2 boys in their teens.
Oh my
They're
God.
hilarious, but often at her expense. That's tough.
Oh yeah,
But they're so cute. Like they
they're
like
so
Garcelle's
fucking
kids.
cute.
Yeah.
I love them. I
It's so
love them. They're
obvious they
so
love
different,
her.
and I just love. Yeah,
Mhm.
watching their dynamic heartens me. I love seeing present parents on this show. It gives me hope, and it also calms down the part of my heart that projects onto parents that I see on these franchises that are toxic with their children. Cough, cough, anyone on New Jersey.
I was just gonna say Teresa
I
Giudice
can't watch New Jersey
much.
because of that. Oh
It's
my God.
really
And don't get me started on a fucking Alexia from Miami with Peter and Frankie.
Well, and that's the thing
Anyway,
with, like, being long-term watchers of these shows is we see how that kind of parenting, how they grow
right.
up. Like, Gia has become Teresa, and it's
Oh my
just like,
god.
"Oh, the cycle continues, it's bad." But with these I yeah, I'm with you. Like, I love watching them interact. It's so honest. Garcelle loves them so much. They love her too, but they're 15, so they'd rather make fun of her than say, "I love you, mom." They'll get there when they're like 19 or 20. But I did love Garcelle. She tries to initiate a conversation about sex, and again, it's met with burps and ridicule.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
She did emphasize consent. She's like, "You understand what consent means.
Yes.
Consent means everybody says yes." And I feel like I love her for that. It's also extra important for boys, I think, because
Fuck yeah.
there's a lot of gray area and a lot of accusations can be thrown. And I think that's something that boys are going to need to be more and more conscious of. And I'm glad that she added that to the conversation with those guys.
I have been raising my son with the phrase no means no since like before he could utter words. I had yes, I bought him a my first book of feminism, like for babies, and I read it and I read it and I read it over and over to the point where he like finally got like, okay, I get it, bitch, like stop shoving it down my fucking throat. But I will go down raising a kid who is the anti Brett fucking Kavanaugh. That is my job as a mother to a boy. That is my job.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting. There's something no means no is vital, but I also think that added element of everybody must say yes. Because when
Everybody
I
must
was in
say yes.
college, I never said no because I was too polite, but I sure didn't want to. And I
Fuck.
squirmed around a lot to try to get away from it. But, I didn't say no. So I couldn't, there was nothing,
I
it's
hear
just
you.
a boy and a girl both need to be aware that the other person has said an enthusiastic yes
An
before
enthusiastic yes.
jumping
That's
into bed.
absolutely. So Jade wants to have, oh my God, I just blanked on her name.
I forget too.
Ashlyn.
Right.
Ashlyn, right?
Mhm.
Ashlyn. He
Yep.
wants to have Ashlyn stay over. And she says, absolutely fucking not. Yes, I can see at 15, that's too soon. I would be like, listen, in my house, I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with it, period. Like, come to me when you're 16, come to me when you're 17, come to me when you're 18. I would rather know where my kid, this is how I feel now. Ask me in a few years. I would rather know where my child is. I don't know, have them be in like some random park somewhere or in a car or whatever. And I feel like if
They're gonna
it's
do it everywhere, by the way. They're
exactly,
horny
that's the
teens, so they'll
thing.
do it in the house, in
So
the car, in a park, wherever.
So it might as well be where I know where they are and I know who she is or he is or they are. I don't know. TB fucking D. It's not my business yet. No, not my business. I'm just, when I say it's not my business, I mean it's not like I'm making this too big. I'm overthinking this, right? Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I know what
I
you're
don't know.
saying.
I don't know what I don't know. Or maybe he won't be into anybody. Who knows? But
I just feel
my
like
point is, if they want to be here and it's of age and all the parents know, every caretaker knows what's happening, I'm on board.
but I feel like if I'm Garcelle, I don't want obviously they're gonna do it. I would be if a child was conceived in my house on my watch, I would be bummed
Hell to the
out.
no.
If
No,
if
no,
there was
yeah.
any confusion about consent under my roof, I would be bummed
Mm-mm.
out. So
Mm-hmm.
until everyone's 18, I kinda get it. Like, everybody knows they're out there doing it, and they're probably doing it at home when your back is turned or when, you're out getting a Coke or whatever, but I don't know. I don't think there's any clean answer, but I understood why Garcelle was like, "I don't wanna just say, like, come over to a sex
Yeah.
palace and let me serve you
Oh my
snacks
God.
after you've
Oh
fucked,
my
and I
God.
don't know if you've done it safely, and I don't know if everyone was on board, and I don't know if I'm gonna be a grandma on the other side of this," but it's so sex is, like, so fun when you're young, but, like, until, like, you've really come face to face with the consequence, that's where I feel like a parent is helpful. To be like, obviously, you're gonna do this and have
Yeah.
fun, and also, let me just remind you of, like, some things that could go left, including a human being conceived in a moment.
I had a really unique situation when I was 18. I did. I guess should I share about it?
I'm
Because it
curious.
was
Do I know about it?
really it's possible. I wasn't with like the very first love of my life until I was like 17/18 after I graduated. And after I graduated from high school. And I had been like terrified of having sex before then, like just terrified, like for lots of reasons. Like most of them were just like super judgy reasons though, like how can I protect myself? I mean from getting emotionally hurt, not like physically hurt. Like how can I protect myself? What would this mean? Like I was raised by a Catholic, but I wasn't raised Catholic. I think that when you grow up in an alcoholic dysfunctional house or with toxic parents, I think you have guilt that just flows through your veins regardless. You just always feel like you're not doing anything right. So we fell deep and hard in love. We were 18 and we were committed. And I told my mom, I'm like, listen, this is going to happen. And she's like, okay, I think he's a perfect person for this to happen with. Let's go see your OBG. Let's go see your, what was it? She was like what was her like official? She was a doctor that like specialized in teenagers. And I fucking loved her. What was her name? Lynn something. She was a doctor at UCSF or UCSD and I loved her. So we went and saw her. I got on birth control. My boyfriend's parents knew. My mom knew. And they knew where we were all the time. And they knew what we were doing, but they knew that, oh yeah. And we got full like STD panels before that. So it was like the safest, most ideal situation that you could have under those circumstances. And I'm
Yeah.
fully prepared to do the same for my kid.
I think that's
If he'd
lovely
probably
because,
die, but like, it just,
I mean,
yeah, it just, it, my
safety
mom was
first.
grateful that I told her. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
I'm sure she was, and that's the thing. I'm just thinking, like, God. I mean, I was raised with like residual Catholicism and alcoholism, so yes, the shame was a driving force, which made me keep secrets. I just didn't want to tell anyone
Mm.
anything because I was certain that it was shameful. So,
Mhm,
and there
mhm,
was no
mhm.
internet, so you can't ask questions anywhere. You just got it's trial by fire, and like that's not a great way.
Totally, totally.
Yeah. I
But
think that's lovely, especially, like, of its
yeah, it
time, that's
was.
such a progressive way
Totally.
to take a teen through that experience.
It was. It was. And I'll never forget his mom and I'll never forget my mom and how they handled it with like just full grace and honesty. And they just didn't want us to be idiots. And we weren't to the best of our abilities. So, you know, I like don't think about that very often. And then sometimes I do. And I'm like, holy shit. Like that's like the most ideal situation that this could happen in. So
I'm so glad you told that story because that's a lovely template for
oh,
people
thank
to work
you.
with
Oh, I'm
because
glad.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it is either like what happens with Garcelle where you say the word sex and everyone's just like, "No!" Or it's like in
Oh
my
my
household where you keep everything a secret and tiptoe around and just like,
God.
take your hits where they come. That's a lovely story. I really
It was
I've never
it
heard
was
that before, and I love
oh my
that.
god, I
It
think I
sounds
just took
so
it for granted for
sane,
so long, but yeah, it was extremely sane and extremely
like
progressive
almost
for the time.
clinical,
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, here are the things you have to do in order to have
Yeah.
this experience safely." And of course, we were raised
Yeah.
in the AIDS of like the AIDS, the era of AIDS.
Yep, yep,
So we
yep.
were
And that's back when we still like when it was still considered to be like a death sentence, like a literal death sentence.
it was, or at least we
And
didn't know if it
you didn't
wasn't gonna
know
be.
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Speaking of death sentence, on to Dorit and PK's marriage.
yeah, dude. Okay, so this is where we start our descent into the painful part of the show.
I
Hmm.
PK just is there anything redemptive about this man? Dorit asks him to answer the door to let the couples therapist in, and he stops 5 feet in front of the door, opens a pizza box, takes out a piece of pizza, eats the fucking pizza, leaves her waiting at the door. If Mauricio was at the door, he would have rushed straight there, but it's a woman. and I'm kind of hungry and this came in my path. So like she can fucking wait.
Interesting.
And I don't want to do this
Interesting.
anyway. So I'm just going to eat pizza and be a dick. Like ugh, I can't get on this man's
Yeah.
side.
When I think, I'm like, I don't need Al-Anon. I don't need fucking Al-Anon. Like, when I think like that, cut to me looking at PK's eyes with a microscope, because they looked bloodshot and he was finishing a Stella. And I'm like, is he wasted right now? Is he wasted? I thought it was telling when Dorit, before Sarah gets there, and she says, are you feeling open about this? Like, she was already concerned. She already was preparing herself for PK to not take full fucking advantage of the fact that they were going to have a therapy appointment to discuss this big issue in their marriage. And that is like, that must have been a terrible place to feel disconnected with your partner when it's dealing with this. He's not a good man. I know. Fucking breaking news, right?
Yeah. I
Shock.
mean, Dorit approached
PK
him
sucks.
at the door and she was rightly disgusted. She was like, are you
Yeah.
serious? And then
Yeah.
she went and let her in and PK hugged this therapist with his
Oh
greasy
my
pizza
God.
hands. Like he's just so disrespectful. It's just really
Truly.
ugly. So they sit down and Dorit wants help getting PK to understand what PTSD is and how it affects her. And PK is basically just pissed that she didn't take on her role as Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman when he put together the weirdest, most contrived date for cameras I've ever seen in my life.
Berlin.
Ladies and gentlemen, Blane.
Ladies and gentlemen, Berlin.
He's
Yeah.
such a dick. He says Dorit had brought up at the Pretty Woman dinner that it takes a lot for her to get dressed like this and that, she was stressed out because she had been concerned about the kids. And then PK just says, well, does PTSD require you to talk about it there and then? Is that PTSD?
Oh my
He's just such
God.
a shit.
I know.
And honestly, again, he's not totally wrong. Like some of her behavior is over the top, but like that's who you married. And now that person
Yeah.
has PTSD too. You married a high maintenance woman who now has PTSD. This is what it is, Betty.
Okay, so he said he wasn't stoked that she brought up her PTSD at dinner and that any husband would agree with him. I paused it and looked at Josh, and he said, before he said anything, he's like, I disagree.
Smart man.
But like, he literally meant it. He's like,
I
that was a
believe it.
major thing she went through, and he should have some compassion for that and not just think of himself. If he wasn't happy with the timing, he could have brought that up at a different time, I think. End quote. Credit Josh Higgins. So, it's true. He did that. Oh my God. It's like when people do shit for you and they only have expectations and they're not really doing it for you, that was all for his own benefit. And that is so unsatisfying. It's so disingenuous and not the way that one should try to connect with their partner. Like, there's no true connection that can happen from something that you're putting on performatively. Performatively, is that a word?
Yeah. Oh,
That is?
absolutely. That's a word. Oh, yeah.
Oh, fuck. Thank God. All right.
There was a whole era of performative feminism. Remember? That was like a whole thing.
Performatively.
Like when you say that
Yeah.
you are a certain thing, but when it comes time to take an action, it was all bullshit.
Yes, exactly. Cough, cough, Bronwyn from fucking Bronwyn marching in Black Lives Matter. Gotta have the
Yes,
camera. Gotta have the
exactly.
fucking camera, Bronwyn. Anyway.
Oh my God.
So PK said he felt like it was a fuck you when Dorit brought that up at the dinner instead of waiting for when it was a more convenient time for fucking PK. And yeah, like, was she stressed out because there was a surprise element, or was she stressed out because she would not have ever worn a red dress? She would have given herself time to fucking do her head to toe bronzer. So when we're watching the flashbacks, that was fucking annoying, because she is framing it as the surprise element is freaking me out. But she also couldn't manage the glam part of it. And I think that really
But
spoke to her insecurities.
if that surprises PK 15
Yeah,
years into their marriage, then he's an idiot. That's who she's always been. Like, and
yeah.
I didn't care for the therapist, like, kind of letting PK get away with pretty, like, insensitive, punishing language when he said, is that PTSD? And Dorit said, that's a shitty thing to say. And the therapist's like, no, that's fine. What he means is, and I'm like, you don't know. You have to tell him how to communicate this in a way that isn't punitive.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah,
monster. But the therapist did help us understand what PTSD is. And I thought this was a good way to explain it, that it leaves you
totally.
always on high alert for something bad to happen. And that is the state that Dorit is in and will always be in. And so an ugly dress is now no longer just an ugly dress. It's an ugly dress that she might be wearing if she gets like robbed and hurt and has to save the kids. Like everything is loaded now with like
Oh,
extra
I
intensity.
see.
So and I think both are
Huh.
true. She is an obnoxious, high maintenance asshole, and now she has PTSD. So like everything is turned up until she slowly recovers, and that is a lifelong pursuit. Recovery from PTSD.
She explains that PTSD is born in anxiety, and it has nothing to do with good surprise or bad surprise. It's something that catches you off guard, so your instinct is to walk around ready for something horrible to happen all the time. Can confirm. I refer to that as hypervigilance. When you grow up in the houses that you and I grew up in, I don't know when our poor brains were already connected with the PTSD wiring versus what could have been. I don't know. But yeah, the hypervigilance is just constant. It's constant. You're just not even aware that you're holding your breath. You're not even aware that you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. That's just how you exist in the world
Mm-hmm.
until you work it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that you're right, Margie. I think the more and more we see PK being resistant and impatient with Dorit, the more it makes sense that he would have been the one to allegedly plan the home invasion without Dorit knowing. He thinks, okay, nothing bad is going to happen because I worked it all out with these people. She's going to get her phone back. No one's going to get hurt. So she'll be fine and we'll get the insurance money, allegedly. But he doesn't count on, he can't see that the repercussions of this could be like, no, you don't just be like, oh my God, I fucking got held up by a gun last night, but thankfully nothing happened. Wipe my hands of that. Cool, let's go, It's not like that. And he doesn't see that. That's not part of his plan. And he resents her if this is how it went down, allegedly. But I think you're right. I think that's what happens.
It feels like it. And Dorit
Anyway.
says in her confessional, she notes that PK has gotten harsh and mean over the past couple years. So like since
Yeah.
this has happened, his tone has changed. And then we get a confessional with PK, and like this is Wegovy PK, honey.
Oh, well,
He has
that's
slimmed
true.
down and he is
That is
tan.
true. That
And
is true.
he looks great. I'm happy for him. But he says the thing that I hate so much. He said, when I met Dorit, she was a bubbly, enthusiastic, beautiful girl. And now not quite as high maintenance as she is now. And it's like, this makes me so furious. You married a person who grows and becomes a whole person and who has needs and
Right.
expressed one. And now she's not bubbly or pretty or fun to be around. So he just goes to London all the time because she's a high maintenance asshole. And I hate that. I was in a writer's room once. My writing partner and I were the only women in the room, that happened on a few different jobs. But on one of these jobs, one of the senior writers said, we were just talking about like dating and stuff. And he said, something happens to a woman when she turns 36. And I remember sitting there and being like, oh, good, I have like four or five more years to be regular.
Oh my
But
God.
then when I hit 36, that stayed in my mind because I
Of
was like, what
course.
does happen? And I was like, oh, you grow up and you start asking for what you need in a partner. And like, that's annoying.
Oh,
It's why
yeah.
men date younger women. I don't even blame them. I fucking get it. But like, I'm done trying to pretend I don't have any needs. By age 36, I'm exhausted trying to look after myself, pretend I'm perfect. have only
Oh,
time and space for you. So, and it's not even like high demand. It's just, hey, when we go to the party of all your friends, could you stay close by or introduce me or
right,
something before you take? And then it's just like,
right.
what happened? You turned sort of 36 and now you're a fucking monster. It's like, no, I just
Yeah,
need a
yeah,
little.
yeah.
Anyways, I'm
Totally.
obviously, again, bringing all of my shit to this show, but that it really bothered me that he was comparing Dorit after a home invasion to Dorit when he first met her. And she was young and beautiful and
Ugh,
effervescent or
so
whatever the fuck.
gross, dude.
Yucky.
If he was the one that allegedly planned it, dude, you're reaping what this is you. You caused this. And then at the end, when he is saying, you need to, what does he say? We need to sometimes be wrong. And I thought he was going to say, I'm going to admit my wrong. He's like, and that's sometimes hard for Dorit. And
And
Josh
he
and I
said it in
both were like,
the shittiest way. And that's
oh
sometimes hard for
my
Dorit.
God.
Like as if he's like the long suffering husband putting up, and she is a
Right.
monster, but so are you. And like you married a
He's worse of a
monster.
monster. She's fucking annoying, but he
He's
he
cruel.
owes he owes allegedly $2 million to a casino. I'm sorry. That's fucked. That's not a trustworthy person. I don't think that's wrong, right? Like, I don't think I'm unfairly.
No, I
If
mean,
you owe $2 million to a casino, you're not a good person, correct?
I don't know
I
because
guess
I've never been
maybe
in
that
that
can't be.
position and I would never be because I don't like gambling. So that's not going to be my life. But Dorit in her confessional says right now is a kind of the one time in their marriage that it's Dorit who needs PK, not the other way around. And she says he's coming up really short.
Mm.
And I said literally and figuratively.
Oh,
And then we cut to PK's Wegovy confessional where he's boohooing about how hard it is to balance work and travel and the misses and something's got to give. And it's like, dude, you just admitted that what's got to give is your wife. You'll do work and travel always
right,
ahead of your wife. And you
right,
didn't even mention
right.
your children.
Children
Wow. So
in
you're just
this marriage,
overseas. Yeah.
the
Oh,
children in
right.
this marriage,
I forgot he has extras.
we haven't seen PK's first children.
Yeah, he's a monster. I will say a little
Generation
earlier in the
one.
scene,
I
Dorit
don't
sort
know.
of stumbled into a really good explanation of PTSD, which I thought was great. She says to PK, it's like I'm an entirely different person and I
Mm-hmm.
can't do anything about it. And I was like, yes, that's what
Oh my
trauma
God.
is.
That's
You
exactly what trauma
you
is.
do become a different person and you don't want to be a different person. You too want to go back to what it was like in the before, but you can't do anything about
Nope.
it. It's now
Nope.
woven into who you
Oh my
are
God.
and that fucking sucks, but you can't there is no going back to beautiful effervescent young Dorit with no demands or problems. Yeah,
It's
that broke my
true.
heart. I thought that was pretty
It is heartbreaking.
yeah.
It is. And I don't want to bring up another one of my own. I'm just saying I can relate. I can relate to that. I'm not gonna, I'm sure
No.
another. No, it's just like, when my son was born, it was extremely traumatic. And it could not have been further than what I had envisioned and planned on. Net net, he was healthy, I was healthy, but I lost my footing and I just feel like I'm getting it back and he's almost 8. I mean, it fucking leveled me. It leveled me. It was, I mean, yeah, I had like my own trauma, but the way I became a mother was complete trauma and I had no agency over what was going to happen. And it shattered me. Like I didn't know I was capable of being that. I didn't know I was capable of losing my fucking footing. That doesn't happen to me. I lost it. And then I did not know how to get it back. And I don't know if I'll ever get it back, whatever that is, because we change and we evolve. But it stamped me, like it's branded me, you know? It was so hard. And it's finally feeling like easier and like I can recognize myself again. But it's taken a long fucking time. And it's
Well,
true,
yeah.
trauma changes you. And sometimes you can pinpoint the trauma that is responsible for that change that's happening. And sometimes it's just trauma that you don't even know is trauma at the time. It's just happening in spite of you.
Well, and I remember that time in your life, and I remember how confusing it was because everybody was just saying, "Congratulations, oh my
Mhm.
god," because it's true, he did come out healthy and you physically were able to recover after a while, but that birth experience was traumatic, and I can't
Yeah,
imagine what it was like to field all of these, like, joyful congratulations when, like, you're haunted by something that
yeah.
didn't feel like a fucking celebration at the time,
Oh
and
my
Leo is
god.
a celebration, no doubt,
He
but it
is,
doesn't
he
it doesn't
is.
eliminate the other part of it. It's like
No.
you are an entirely different person on the other side of that birth, and there's nothing you can do about it. No amount of
Damn, dude.
congratulations, and aren't you so lucky that he's healthy, and none
Oh
of
my
that
god.
resolves your experience. That was yeah, I remember that was a very trying period.
I'll never forget, it's been 48 hours since I've eaten or slept. I'm fucking bewildered, and I'm strapped down on this fucking operating table, and these chipper nurses are like, "Oh my god, aren't you excited to meet your baby?" And it's like, of course, you're expected to say, "Yes, I can't wait." But I wanted to say, like, "No, I'm not excited right now. This is not what I fucking signed up for. This is not the classes I did. This is not I haven't eaten. How do you people not know? Like, no. This is the last fucking resort in this room. No, I'm not. And the fact that I keep meaning to write a letter to say, you know what? You need to see these people not as just a body that needs to be cut open and take a baby out. You need to be like, okay, she came in when? Oh shit. She must be so tired. Like, let's just lower the lights, maybe not talk about the recreational golf we're going to play this weekend. Maybe not say, are you excited to meet your baby? Maybe just say, how you doing, mama? You must be
Mhm.
exhausted. You're almost done, okay?
Mhm.
I'm gonna lower these lights if you need to close your eyes for a minute. Ooh, I could fry right now. Okay.
I mean, I
Anyway.
will just I know it's woo-woo and whatever, but I will make a pitch for a doula. Like, that is why
Oh, yeah,
people
I had
employ
one.
doulas. Oh,
Yes. Oh,
you
I
did?
had one. Yes,
In the
I had
hospital?
one.
In
I
the
had a doula in the hospital.
what the fuck was she
She
doing? Where was
she I
she?
don't I don't remember why she wasn't in the operating room with me, but I was like one of maybe 2 patients throughout her entire career of being a doula, and she'd been a doula for years that had to go a C-section route.
Well, and
And she
that is
was
also, like and
so she wasn't even fucking equipped to help me
you
other than
had
just be
waited
like,
to
"I'm
have
so
Leo.
sorry."
Didn't they
Yeah.
wanna induce you and you were like, "No, no, I wanna wait and do this naturally?"
They
Like
did, and I was very insistent that we let my body do what it was going to do, and I
mhm.
look back on that whole thing and wish that I had made a different choice and just opted for the medication that helps induce labor. But I wanted to fucking see. I knew this was going to be my only chance. Not my
Mm.
only chance. I knew it was the probability that this was going to be my one chance to give birth to a baby was going to be it, because I didn't know that I even wanted more than one child. I wanted one. That was all, that was the plan. And then you start wondering, like, fuck, did I not go to enough prenatal yoga? Was I too stressed? Of course, it was all what I did wrong in my brain. It was all what I was doing wrong. So, like, aren't you excited to meet your baby? No, I'm over here. I'm so fucking thirsty. I'm fucking exhausted. And I am blaming myself that I am here. I am blaming myself. My resources are tapped. The little fumes I have left, I'm using to judge myself because this is what's happening.
And I don't like, sadly,
Anyway,
I don't think it's a unique experience. Like you
no,
said,
God, no. It's not at all. It's
moms
not
in
at
that
all.
moment are often just treated like a skin sack to pull a cute baby out
It's
of,
it's
which
absolutely
is
true.
part of
Yep.
the deal, but it's very incomplete. There's a whole human
Yeah.
being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of that scene, PK does break down in tears because he said it's hard for him to see the person he loves in pain. I really hope he was being sincere. I
I
really,
think
really hope
the
he was
end of
being
that sentence
sincere.
was, "I hate seeing the person I love in pain that I caused." That's where my head went.
Oh
I
my
was like,
God.
"He's
You're
crying
right. You're
because he
right.
didn't anticipate this
He did it.
outcome,
Yep,
and
yep,
he
yep, yep,
tried
yep.
to be mean about it to shame her out of her feelings, and now he came to the understanding that this is what he did. He did this, if he did it,
Mm-hmm.
allegedly, but,
Mm-hmm.
on this
Allegedly.
podcast.
On
We
this
have a
podcast, I
strong
fully
theory.
fucking believe it.
Yeah.
I really do. Because nothing else makes sense.
Nothing else makes
Nothing else
sense,
makes
and all
sense.
of his behavior,
He's mad. He's
and he's
resentful
been
that it didn't.
absent, he's been
Yep,
gone. It's like he is trying to get the fuck away from this
yep,
until
yep, yep.
Dorit's over it. But, like, unfortunately, you're married for now, so
I don't have high hopes for this
I don't
relationship.
either. And,
Plus,
Dorit and
I
her
think no, go ahead. Yes, I'm sorry.
just Dorit in her last confessional said, like, if PK can't show up for her, she's not certain about the future of this marriage, so she's ready to start.
What more does she, yeah,
Yeah.
he's showing her who he is. Yeah, and then we are getting ready for Lorene's memorial.
Yes.
Teddy's there, and Garcelle says, "Oh, sorry, it's just a gnat," and I appreciate it.
I mean,
We have nothing to say about Teddy that hasn't been said before many times.
thank God she was. I mean, whatever. She is so boring. It's remarkable. It's almost exceptional. She's like Olympic level boring. It's amazing. She tries to have personality and it falls flat. It is a really unusual case study in boring human being, but she's
She
nailed it.
really, like, leans into it too. Like, it's like she knows everyone's talking shit and calling her a gnat and calling her boring. It's like there's every single thread where it's relevant to bring up Teddy on the Bravo Real Housewives subreddit. It's just like comment after comment after comment of people who are like, John Cougar Mellencamp's son-in-law's wife, like any moniker they can give her besides like just calling her Teddy Mellencamp, and it's fucking hilarious. Like, she
She's
knows
absurd.
that no one respects her. Kyle, whatever.
It did make me laugh though. So Kyle comes in and Jen, Kyle's assistant, tries to walk Kyle through what the plan for
Oh
the
my
night is going to
God.
be. And she's mid sentence and Morgan Wade plays like one chord in rehearsal. And Kyle immediately like stops everything, bails, like runs to the foot of the stage to like smile and listen to Morgan and sing along. And then we get the lyrics of this song, which is like, some unrequited romance between an older
Dude.
woman and a younger Morgan Wade, maybe. The
They
lyrics are
say
you say
I'm
I'm
too young. Yeah. Okay.
mhm.
Sorry. Yes.
You say I'm too young for you, you're scared I'm too right for you. And Kyle's sitting at the end of the stage just like
Oh my
wrapped up
God.
in this completely. So
It's
that's
like
how the evening starts.
that Seinfeld episode where Elaine is dating someone who every time Desperado comes on, he's like, shh, 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 shh. And he has to listen to it. Yeah, Kyle just like she again, 100% infatuated with Morgan. Something is because that was like she didn't even say like I mean she just like straight up walked away from her assistant slash
It's
party
like
planner.
what happens when my dog hears the treat bag rattle. She literally was like, "What?" And like everything else disappeared. Everyone else can fuck off. And she has one mission, which is to get to that treat bag named Morgan Wade. It was so organic and telling. It
Yeah,
just told us everything we need to know.
very telling, extremely telling. Lorene's mom was there, and then she asks if she's crying. It was so fucking heartbreaking. It just the not that it was abstract, not that this tragedy was abstract. It's just when you bring in Lorene's family and they're still visibly upset, as you would expect them to be, it became more real. It's it's grave, and then when she's like, is Maurice gonna be here? No. And there was a time when he would have been here, and now he's not. He's away on business.
When she said that, like he had to be away on business, I was like, no, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
Mauricio is not restricted by commercial flights.
Uh-uh.
Mauricio could be
No,
there
he
for
is
2
not.
hours and take a
Yep.
private jet wherever the fuck he needs to be. This is like intentionally awful. And I'm sure he was there at the proper memorial and funeral, but you
Right.
show up for everything when it's
Right.
your
Right.
wife's
Right.
best friend who killed herself. And we find out in this episode that Kyle, or maybe it was the one prior, that Kyle had named her like as,
Yep.
like guarantor of her like will and to take care of her kids.
Yeah.
But yes,
Yeah.
Lorraine's mom's name is Sugar,
Mm.
and she had like 2 lines, and I both of them just like shattered my heart.
Yeah, it
And
was
in this moment, Kyle
really
greets her and they
painful.
hug, and Sugar just says, "This is hard," you know? And I was like,
God.
oh
I
my
know, I
God.
know, I know, I
And
know.
yeah, fuck Mauricio for not being there to hug her too. Like it's so selfish. It's not just about Kyle. Like Mauricio, you've been a part of her life for 30 years. Other people fucking expect you to show up too. Yuck. So mad
Totally.
at him.
That's a really good point. Yeah, yeah, this was fucked up. It was fucked up. So then we take a petty pivot and we're with Anne Marie. And I think she doesn't know who she's talking to because she's situated between Garcelle and Crystal, who are notably Sutton's fiercest allies. And she's like, okay, so A, fucking appropriate to bring this petty bullshit up at this particular kind of event. And
Beyond.
B, she had an agenda, and that was to put Sutton down. She's doing it at an event to bring awareness for mental health and suicide. It's all being focused around Kyle, who Anne Marie claims to really fucking love and be on her side. But let's start this shit here. I get it. We're watching fucking Housewives. I know this
But
is what
that's what
they
I mean
do.
by
And
technique
they,
versus talent. This
right,
is the wrong
right,
time and place, you idiot. You
right,
learned the rule
right.
book, but you're calling the wrong play. You're a fucking moron. And like, even when she entered this event, Anne Marie goes up to Kyle and goes, "Are you excited?" And it's like, did you think before you asked that
Yeah, oh my
question? Do
God,
you realize what
exactly.
inspired this event? I don't think anyone's
Oh
excited, you
my
fucking
God.
moron. Like, and then
Read the room, dude. Read the room, Anne Marie.
And I
Anyway,
think she chose Crystal and Garcelle because she said, "You guys know Sutton best." And I think Anne Marie thought that she was going to be able to shut everyone down with her medical knowledge, but wrong time and place. And also, wow, when she mentions that it could be scar tissue from an eating disorder, and Crystal immediately recoils, as did I
yeah,
was
I
like,
did too.
and then she's crazy because Crystal says, "You're suggesting she has an eating disorder." And Anne Marie goes, "I didn't say that." Wait, but you literally just said that. What are you doing? What are you doing? She sucks.
She sucks so
I don't
bad.
need
She
one
sucks
more
so
second of
bad.
her.
Yeah, she's genuinely not concerned for Sutton at all. I love when Garcelle's like, why do you care? Because I
I
want to help.
know.
Bullshit. Just take it somewhere else. Take your lies somewhere else. You don't care about this woman at all.
Yeah,
I
and
know.
like you said, she's doing the housewife thing of like trying to plant a scandalous seed of like, well, maybe, what this really comes from is an eating disorder. And she
Mm-hmm.
wants to start the eating disorder storyline or the alcoholic storyline, whatever, but
Which
like,
should not
don't.
be anyone's storyline, right? Like,
Not
come
from Anne
on.
Marie. Like, get
Especially if,
away.
right. And if she is as dedicated to being someone that wants to help people in the medical field, this is not. This is, I would go running. I would like head for the hills if someone like this was the one that was there to quote unquote support me. Like, fuck off.
She is not
She
helpful and
sucks.
she's not anything. I'm ready
She's
for
not
her to be
helpful. She's rude. I'm ready
fired.
to be gone. Right.
She's tone deaf and terrible. And then, as if we weren't already beaten to a pulp, we
Dude.
learn, did we know this before that
Yes, we
Sutton's
did.
father, we
We
did?
did. We
Oh, I
did know
didn't know
this.
that.
We did know this, and she has talked about it. I want to say she's touched on it in each season.
Oh, I love that I blocked it out. If anyone doesn't know,
No,
Sutton reveals that her father committed
yeah,
suicide when he was 62.
62.
And then she says her family never talked about it. And I just wrote in all caps, "No wonder Sutton's a problem drinker."
100%.
And then we find out that
Yeah.
she was supposed to be at the house when he shot himself, and that she says, "I'm always late, and I wonder if it would have been different if I'd been on time." And I was like, "Oh my God, I
I
need to
mean,
drink a gallon of vodka just hearing this story."
yeah. 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 I feel like in the past when she shared about it, she wasn't met with a lot of compassion either. I know she shared about it. Oh, God, I wish I could remember when. But yes, this was not news. It's just she doesn't talk about it an awful lot. But when she does talk about it, especially when it was in light of the event that they were at in last night's episode, it just makes so much fucking sense. Like the fact that Sutton is as social, vital, oh God, Margie. The fact that she's, walking erect. Do you know what I'm saying? Am I making sense? Like the fact that
Yes.
she lived through that and is still willing to put her life on a show. I don't know. I found a little bit more respect for Sutton. Obviously, she's one of my favorites. Okay, all right. Problematic or not, she's one of my faves. But if people left that episode and still didn't have compassion for her, then they can fuck all the way off. And then Garcelle comes up to Sutton and says that Anne-Marie is already bringing up the esophagus, and Sutton rightly says, on this night, as a family survivor of suicide, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you excited? No, no. Oh, let's talk about Sutton's eating disorder. Oh, and where are we? Oh, I'm at an event with red carpet and paparazzi and entertainment. Oh, but also it's being sponsored by this organization that wants to bring awareness to, suicide prevention and support. Margie, I couldn't live with myself.
Me neither.
I
She's
couldn't live with
trying.
myself.
She and Teddy can go have a spinoff of like boring idiot assholes
Oh my
because they
God.
both sort of fall in that same category for me where I'm like so uncomfortable when they're on screen because I
So
just am like, what are you
uncomfortable.
doing? What are you doing? You don't know what you're doing. Then we have Morgan who greets Dorit, and in Dorit's confessional, she says she first met Morgan a couple years ago at a birthday dinner for Mauricio in London. And then Dorit just takes a second to be a bitch and goes, Morgan stuck out like a sore thumb. And I was like, why did you say that? You're such a bitch. I mean, obviously,
Has Dorit never seen neck tattoos before?
has Dorit like what she actually isn't that extreme. Her
She is
hair was like
absolutely
blown out
not.
like dry bar style. I was like, what
Yeah,
else do you
yeah.
want from this
I
girl?
know. I
She has
mean,
a couple
she's
tattoos and an accent, I guess. But like, what's the
100%.
fucking problem, Dorit?
Yeah, nothing. I would literally if I walked into, I don't even know if Kings Road is still a thing, but like if I was to like walk into Kings Road or Earth or be walking around Beverly Center, or no, I'm sorry, not Beverly fucking Center. God, I hate that place. But like the revamped Century City Mall, and someone like Morgan walked by me, I would probably be like, "Oh, cute leather leggings," or, "Oh, I wonder where she gets all her tattoos." I wouldn't be like, "Oh my God, she sticks out. It's fucking Los Angeles, dude." She does not stick out.
And she's a musician. Like what I don't know.
Right?
Dorit is just so like, what did you expect her to be in like Ann Taylor with her like a low
She
pony
speaks,
and
her language is fashion and she speaks it fluently. Apparently,
well,
she needs subtitles when it comes to someone's fashion that's like Morgan's.
yeah,
Dorit sucks.
she does. But then we see Kyle feeding Morgan cantaloupe and Dorit says this is how rumors get started. And at this point in the night, I'm like, good. I want Kyle to have someone in her life who gives a shit about her,
Right.
who, at this point I was just like, shut up, Dorit. And Kyle has lost everyone. And we're sitting in the aftermath of that. Can
Oh
you
my God.
please like
Yeah.
not focus on whatever? And then Kyle gives her speech, and I thought she did a nice job of trying to shake some of the taboo of talking about suicide. She said,
100%.
everyone in this room has struggled themselves or known someone who's struggled or lost a loved one to suicide. So, and everyone in the room nodded because
Yeah,
it's
everyone
fucking
did.
true.
Because it's totally fucking true.
And if you,
Everyone.
yeah. And
And right. Yeah. We might not talk about it as often as we should, but I don't, yeah. It's a reality. Life is hard. Life
life
is
is really
hard.
hard.
We don't have, everyone doesn't have access to help. Not everyone knows that help is even a thing. And sometimes you know that help is a thing, but you're just too fucking exhausted.
Well,
You're
and
just
part
too
of me
tired.
wonders if we don't have treatments yet. Like I think about this all the time when I try to explain like my mental health issues. I'm like, it's like any other illness. Like I wonder if Lorene got a terminal case of cancer, not for any fault of her own. She tried treatments and they didn't work, and she died of a mental
Oh my
health
God.
illness.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I
Because
see what you're saying.
some
Yeah,
people
yeah.
can treat it. They go into remission. Some people treat
Right,
it and it's gone forever. And some people die of it because it's an illness.
right.
And
Some people fight the right combination of medications.
And that's why we need to continue to look
Continue.
into treatment for this, because I believe it is. I think we can find a cure for cancer and for mental illness. Both are killers, not at the same level. I totally understand, but I do. It makes me wonder, like, if she'd had ketamine therapy, would she have found a
I
way to
wonder it
stay
all
a
the
little
time.
longer? Or
Mhm.
I don't know. But
I wonder it all the time.
there's this thing of like, why did she do that? And part of me
Yeah,
is like, what if she didn't? What if the cancer did it? Her, like her version of cancer
right.
wouldn't let her live anymore. I don't know. I don't, and
I
I just think about this. I don't have any proof. It's just something that I wonder about. I've known a number of people who've taken that route, and I don't fault them. I know they
mm-mm.
tried. I had a
Yeah,
friend who worked for years at a suicide hotline call center, and he tried every kind of treatment, and his demons would not fucking leave his body. And they took him out, and I
yep,
don't blame him for that. It was
mm-mm.
fucking devastating. And obviously, those who are left behind are forever changed. But he fucking tried. He really tried everything that was available to him. He looked into, and it didn't work for him. He got the kind of cancer that chemo can't treat.
It's
I'm getting
devastating.
emotional.
I know. I mean, I know. It's hard not to come to that conclusion, that permanent conclusion, you know? That's a permanent conclusion.
Yeah.
And if that is the thing that brings you peace and hope, that's devastating. That's a hard thing to live with.
Yeah.
To be in that space.
But this again is where I love the housewives. This
Mhm.
this message is getting out to a lot of people who it may not normally reach. Like, and we get to talk about it because that's what we do on this podcast and
Right,
in our
right.
lives. And I thought, and we move into we see Garcelle hold Sutton's hand during Kyle's speech, and I just love them. Oh, I
I
can't
I
talk.
love
What's wrong
them
with
so
me?
much. Margie, this is a gnarly this is a really it was an extremely profound and powerful episode, or at least it should have been for it, that's how it should have been interpreted by viewers at home.
And you just
This
see the reach of mental
Yep,
illness. Like, it
you see
isn't
the
just the
reach.
person who killed themselves. Look at everyone who's
No.
left behind. They're, like Dorit says, they're different people now and they can't do anything about it. But I loved Sutton in her confessional. She's clearly done some grief work, because at a certain point she corrects herself from talking about her dad saying he would be really proud. And she's like, no, I've learned this. He is really proud. He is here. A really genuine, emotional moment from her. I can't stop crying.
Let it out, friend.
I
This is
know.
like this is what we do here. We don't run from the stuff. I think that when we talk about people that have passed away, like when we talk about them and when we remember them, they're there. They're there. So I understand what she means.
Oh, and then we go to
Anyway,
Kyle's confessional, where she says 2 days before Lorene took her life, she was on the phone with Kyle and told her to appreciate her marriage. And Kyle says she's worried that she's letting Lorene down. And
oh
I
my
was
God.
like, is Kyle codependent even after death? Like, this is just, one way to honor your
Totally.
marriage is to recognize when it's not healthy anymore. You can appreciate all that was
Oh,
wonderful about it and
yeah,
all the
yeah.
beauty that came out of it, and realize that it's no longer what makes you the best version of you. There's that is it oh god, I really don't wanna get this wrong, but I think it's a South African concept of Ubuntu, where, like, I can only be the best me when you're the best you. So
Mhm.
we take care of ourselves and each other in
Right.
that way. And it doesn't feel like there's a lot of Ubuntu going on in Kyle's marriage right now. I don't think they're making each other the best
Nope.
people. And
Nope.
seeing her with Morgan, she is coming alive and feeling supported, and she deserves that. not just
Totally.
because her friend killed herself, but just because she's a person, and we all deserve to reevaluate every now and then and make sure that we're appreciating our relationships in a way that determines whether we stick with them or if it's time to let them go, you know?
Yeah. And she's like, life is too short, and she's trying to be happy, and she doesn't wanna be with people that don't appreciate her.
Ooh, that
Dude,
language, I was
it
like, "Eat shit,
was
Mauricio.
it
That
was
is
it
for you,
was
son."
it was chilling, right? I was all, "Damn!" I mean, she's
Mhm.
referring to Mo, right? Yeah,
And
so if
and
her
and I think his family, you know, like, his
oh,
parents are
God,
all up her ass and, like, you
can't
know, they
stand
don't
his
appreciate her.
mom.
I know.
True, and I was like, "You know what? Fuck it." Like, I don't like Kyle, obviously, I don't like Kyle, but if her happiness is with Morgan, if her happiness is bailing LA and all the bullshit, she's right. Life is short. Life is short, and Mauricio has profoundly different priorities than he did, I wanna say even 3 or 4 years ago.
Absolutely.
Pre-COVID, you know, when they had their
Yeah.
25th wedding anniversary, I think that they were still hanging on. I think that
I
they
don't
were,
know.
like
That dinner,
no,
he
you
was,
think
like,
that was
so high. Remember, Kyle was trying to, like, reminisce about their and she couldn't keep or catch his attention. He was just like,
I
"Grr."
don't remember. I don't
It was
remember.
insane. But
Anyway,
then we have this final moment. Oh, Garcelle talks about how hard it is to come to terms with the finality of death. There's only a void left where that person used to be. This is where death doulas can be helpful. And
yeah.
again, with all of my weeping, you see why I could not continue on that path as a professional. But I learned
Well,
so much about like how much care needs to be given to the person who's passing and how much care needs to be taken of the people they've left behind. It's major. And this last moment destroyed me. The subtitles didn't catch it, but Sugar hugs
mm,
Kyle and she says, "Give me the strength."
oh my god. I don't understand. I don't know how you can I don't know how you go on. I don't know.
That devastated me.
It was devastating.
And fuck Mauricio for not being there. Like, this woman needs so much support. And her sister and Lorene's sisters. It's
And the
like these
sister
people are going to be suffering for a while and they need the physical presence of other people because they've lost the physical presence of
yeah,
a most vital part of their story. So,
I really felt a lot of compassion and grace for Kyle last night. Like, it hit home. She's a fucking mess. Her
yeah.
fucking the rug was pulled out from underneath her, and her husband, her once reliable port in a storm, her once reliable safe place to land, her once reliable refuge, is DMing with OnlyFans girls and opening up an agency on every fucking block like a Starbucks.
Ugh, it's so disappointing. Just that he wasn't there. Like, even if the marriage didn't work out in the end, it's like, just show up for this. But that's not
Yeah.
who he is. And like,
Nope.
that is real clarity for Kyle. You know, she's talked this whole season about how she needs to be clear. And well, Mauricio
Yeah.
sure did show you who he is. So,
He did. He did. He did. Oh
and I'm
my
sure he
God.
has his own trauma and his own reasons for doing this shit. But like, yeah,
I
from all
mean,
that I know, which is not everything, that was just like a very strange and selfish choice to skip
100%.
a televised memorial for your wife's best friend since she was 7, where that whole family would be there and asked after him. The mom said, "Where is he?" Ugh.
He's away on business,
Business, my ass.
which,
Just like
like, listen,
he
I don't know.
he could come back
Yeah.
for 2 hours on his private jet.
Yeah.
He could take a fucking helicopter and have it
Right.
land on the top of the
Right.
building. He's so rich. He
He's
has
so
access
rich.
to all of the ways to get there and get back to business within an hour. But, you know, I'm
Hopefully it
glad
wasn't
Kyle had
week 2 of
Morgan.
Coachella or Portugal. I don't fucking know. Man
Listen,
isn't in great. It was a heavy episode. It was
It
heavy.
started off as, like, nothing, and then
Yeah.
at the end of it, I was just, like, dropped in the bottom of an ocean like a rock. I was like, "What just happened?"
Yeah. It
But
was
it's what is so great about, like, anything that gives, like, mental health issues more exposure
mhm.
is
Mhm.
it's invaluable. It just is.
Completely. Hence why we're here.
Hey!
Let's talk about mental health awareness and neurospiciness in terms of Bravo. Because all
Neurospiciness,
roads
I love that.
neurospicy, that's a new terminology. I did not come up with that, but yeah,
Oh, I
and
love
like
it.
there's
That makes me so
neurotypicals
happy.
and neurospicy. Yeah, cuz one size
I
does not
know.
fit all.
It does not.
Dude, one size does not fit all.
And yeah. You and I
No,
both have
please
these
finish.
diagnoses that make us
Girl,
neurodivergent. And for whatever
bruh.
reason, that sounds just like, I don't know, that sounds like I made
Neurospicy
a
is way
choice.
cuter.
Neurospicy is
Yeah,
way cuter.
it's way cuter.
I didn't diverge off the regular person path. This is the path I
No,
got planted on, the spicy path. Anyways, I love that.
neurospicy.
That's cute.
What else did you watch this week? Unless you have anything else to add about this
No, God,
depressing
I've
as hell
cried enough.
episode.
I'm done.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I watched obviously the Salt Lake City reunion part 1. And I will just say, along this thread of people having technique but not talent, Monica is the opposite. She has both. The girl has studied how to be a housewife and she has the talent to follow through. Love her or hate her, I can't stop watching her. I only
I
want to hear her
know.
talk. I don't
I
give a shit what Whitney
know. I
has to say.
know. I
I
know.
just
I
want to hear
know.
Monica go off and be
I know.
an arrogant psycho who's also right. I don't know. Like, it was crazy.
It's so hard with her. She's so much of her behavior is so repugnant and so repellent. And when I think about her poor fucking children, the 16-year-old that she is clearly like, what's it called? Parent of parent
Parentifying.
parentifying, right. So like
Mhm.
her 15/16-year-old, she's already taking on a quasi mom role. We've seen it.
100%.
These shows, they like the footage, like what you say lives on in perpetuity. Memes, screenshots, audio recordings. You can delete all the fuck you want off the internet. Someone on Reddit or someone on Instagram, Bravo, the Bravo fandom will keep it in a locked box under their bed until they need it. When I think about her children already going through what they went through with their parents getting married and divorced 2 times, and then seeing their mom air all of
And
her
divorced because she fucked their uncle.
divorce because
Okay?
she fucked her uncle, right? I mean, it's
Okay.
just I can't imagine, like, even if I was okay sharing all of that shit, the fact that she doesn't think about how to spare the people that should be the most important priority in her life, that just it makes me like I'm in her corner, I'm in her corner, I'm in her corner. Then she starts in with the ageism shit. If you get to be 50, you're lucky. Aging is a privilege. It's coming for all of us.
I loved Lisa Barlow for saying that. Like, "You're gonna age too, bitch."
Right.
It's like,
Like you
yeah.
are. You are. I was going somewhere and then I lost my train of thought. Oh, no, I don't remember.
Neurospicy,
Oh,
neurospicy.
okay, okay. So sometimes I have to close my eyes so I can remember what I was saying. She loses me when she doesn't care how her behavior will inevitably affect her kids, and when she takes the low blows. It's just like, dude, I would fully back you. I'd wear a jersey. I'd buy a Brea baby blanket. I'm not going to do that, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I would support her. But when she does repugnant things, it just negates all of the stuff that she is doing that's good.
Yeah, and I
Oh
only
God, I'm
my point
mortified.
was not that she's, like, a good person, just that she's
No,
a good
no.
housewife.
Mm.
Like, I am happy to
She's
see
a very good
Anne-Marie
housewife.
disappear as she
Yeah,
already
yeah.
has as a cast member, but this is why, I'm rooting for Monica season 2, but What
I
do
am
who
too.
knows?
I wanna see Angie back. I
I
at the
I
beginning of the season, I was all, "Angie K? Oh god." I love Angie
She's
K.
so weird. I love her.
She's
She's
so
what
weird. I
Mary
love it.
Cosby if Mary Cosby wasn't, like, racist and, terrible,
Yeah,
then
if she was a team player, if she wasn't a cult
yeah,
leader who
she's
married
just
her
so
grandfather.
yes, oh my god.
Oh my
She's
god.
so delightfully weird, and I'm not sure what's going on in her marriage, but I'd love to see her and her husband continue to try and figure it out themselves, you know? What else did you watch?
Let's see. Yes, we watched the Golden Globes on
Oh,
Sunday.
right.
Some of the speeches really just made me cry. Yeah, watched Salt Lake City reunion twice. Oh my god, Margie, I watched that fakakta 2-hour Golden Bachelor wedding last week.
I
I watched it.
tried. I
I
got
watched it.
7 minutes in and I was like, "This is
It was
intolerable. I
it was
can't."
on it was on in the background,
Yeah.
and, it was appropriate for this headspace I was in
Mhm.
at that time. But it was just it was like they were trying to anyway, it was just that fucking show, it just, like, it needs to be done. I need to stop watching it. I can't put it down. That's on me.
Listen, I got as far as Jesse Palmer saying, "My wife is about to go into
Oh my
labor, but
god.
I'm
Oh
here."
my
And I was like,
god.
"This show is so
I
fucked.
know.
You're here for
I
Jerry
know.
and Teresa who've known each
Oh
other,
my
Gary and
god.
Teresa who've known each other for 20 minutes instead
Oh
of
my
like, your
god.
wife is having contractions. Get out of here."
I know. I
Anyways, that was
know. I
crazy.
know. Oy, oy, oy. I don't know. I think that's it. Oh, yeah, and then we watched a movie that was utterly fucking terrifying, and I feel like I wanna watch it again, and then I also feel like I kinda wanna be, like, Men in Blacked about it, so I don't ever have to remember that I watched it.
What movie?
Leave the World
Saltburn?
Behind.
Oh,
No, I haven't seen that one yet. I haven't seen Saltburn, but have
all
you
right. We
seen
won't
Leave the
talk
World
about it
Behind
till
with
no.
Julia Roberts? And for the first time in her entire career, she did not bother me. I actually thought she was really good. And Ethan Hawke, Mahershala Ali, and I don't remember anybody else's names, is so good. It
I'll
is
check it out. I'm gonna write it down.
chilling. It's on Netflix, and it's chilling. It's fucking chilling. It was, like, I wish that it wasn't made. And then I was like, "Fuck you, AI. Writers are so great. Like, someone came up with this story. I
Mhm.
love writers. I love them. I love writers."
Seriously.
I mean, honestly. Anyway, what was your antidepressant this week?
Okay, well,
Oh,
it's the last time you're gonna have to hear about it because college football is now over, but
got it.
Michigan won the college football playoff
I was
final.
very
It
happy for
was
you.
a perfect season. It was redemption from all of their failures last season and all of the scandal and drama surrounding them this season. And in terms of what we talk about on this podcast, our quarterback, JJ McCarthy, is filmed before every game. 3 hours before the game, he goes and sits, he walks onto the field barefoot, sits with his back against a goalpost, pulls his hoodie on and puts headphones on and meditates for 15
Oh,
to 20 minutes. And he puts a finger on his
oh.
nose, he puts his hands on his tummy, he leaves his hands in his laps,
Wow.
and he does breathing exercises and visualization exercises. And he talks about it. And he's king right now. Everybody's saying he's the best college football quarterback ever. So kids are looking at him and they're seeing a man who
Oh,
won
I love that.
everything.
I love that so
And his
much.
ritual, he wakes up every morning and meditates for 30 to 45 minutes before he starts his fucking day. And then before every game, he takes 10 to 15 minutes to sit on the field. Like he's so proud about this habit that he's developed. And it came out of a period of deep depression where he said, I didn't recognize who I was. I didn't like who I was. I didn't know this person. I didn't want to be him anymore. So he went online to research ways to pull yourself out of that. He found meditation and he won the goddamn national championship.
Mm.
15-0 season. He won the big prize. Every kid in America is looking at him and he meditates and he's a winner. So in terms of what we talk about on this podcast, like that's a pretty spectacular thing that happened.
Oh, I love that. I do.
I
I genuinely love that. That's amazing. I know.
And during the game, he checked in. The team has a sports psychologist on the staff, which is also amazing. And the cameras showed him and the sports psychologist checking in on the sideline. And they like touched each other and looked in each other's eyes. And you could
Mhm.
tell that, the psychologist was like, "Are you here? Are you present? Are you doing okay?" And JJ like nodded. And I was like, "Oh my God, look at people taking care of their mental health before, during, after a game, a football game.
Oh,
Isn't
yeah.
that lovely?"
It's beautiful. I love it. I'll take displays of mutual support, people being honest about where they're at, especially in that environment, which is so all action, all physicalities, no,
And
like
that
if you're thinking it's to like stay on your game, it's not to, you know what I'm saying.
it
I don't
has
need
that,
to.
like, grinding mentality,
Yes,
like, you
yes,
grind
yes,
to
yes,
win,
yes,
and JJ
yes,
McCarthy
yes.
talks about, like, why he meditates is so that he can operate from a higher plane, so he's not reacting, he's responding. Like,
Oh my God.
he says he empties his head so that he can just exist in the game as it moves as opposed to, like you get it. Anyways, JJ
Yeah.
McCarthy is my
I have to do
antidepressant.
ketamine to get
Go
there, but
blue.
yes.
Yeah. He's
I
young,
mean, yes.
he's
Yeah,
he's
exactly. And
he'll get to
he's
ketamine in
good
his
for
own
him.
time, but
I
yeah,
love that.
I love him. And you, what was your antidepressant?
Well, right now I have one because I'm alone in my house, which rarely happens now. My husband's at the office and my kid is at school, and I'm like Julie Andrews in the fucking Sound of Music when she's twirling on an Alp or wherever they are. They're on the Alps, right? Isn't that where
I
they
think
escape?
so.
They're all, bye, Austria, peace out. So that is good. And then yesterday, I broke down my entire booth. This is what you're supposed to do as a voiceover actor. You're supposed to, replace your cables every once in a while because things can all of a sudden start sounding shitty when you're recording, and it's like your XLR cables might be shitty. My point is, I broke down everything in my booth. I vacuumed. I put everything back together. I repositioned my mic. I tightened shit. I like made things neat. And it coked me up for hours and hours and hours because, again, it was like with Christmas. I thought about it like, I want to do this. I know this is going to feel good when I do it. I wasn't even resistant. It was just kind of like, okay, when is this going to happen? And then I knew I wanted to be extra prepared for for today. And when I have new equipment that I'm using, because I have a new interface, rather than log on a half an hour before you and I are set to meet, it's like I wanted to be ahead of the fucking game. And so I did it. Did it help? I forgot to press one button and then we were sitting there for 20 minutes.
We figured it
Whatever.
out.
I
You
won't forget
figured it
that button
out.
again. There's parts of me, I don't even want to say my higher self anymore because they're starting to meld. Like there's things that my gut, like my inner voice is nudging me to do. And when I hear it and I do it with enough time, like, oh my God, it's like the long-term dopamine versus a short-term dopamine, because I can look back and be like, oh my God, look what I did. I accomplished this. And I was just it really made my day. And it was nice.
It looked
So
beautiful. The picture you posted is
thank you.
just it looks like a peaceful it's a place you wanna go, you wanna walk into
Yeah,
and sit down and talk.
I like
It's
it. It's
lovely.
really it is lovely. It is lovely.
And now
Yeah.
you have a day to twirl on an Alp.
And now I have a day to twirl on an Alp. Yes, until 2:55. But I'll take it. Listen, I'll fucking
Yeah.
take it. I'll take it. I get to finish my own thoughts today. Yeah. Any hoot. Well, friend, congratulations on our first video. Hopefully, we'll actually post this today. I don't know how it's going to work, but I'll figure it out in post, literally.
I don't know anything about tech, but I'm, good for us for trying something new?
Anything else, Margie?
Yes. In fact, today, an episode of a podcast called And Just Like Matt that is hosted by Matt McConkey Grassi, who is a writer and friend, and he recapped episodes of And Just Like That, and now he's going back into the archives of Sex and the City, and I got to be on as a guest and talk about an episode from good old season 4 of Sex and the City, and I had a great time. So
Oh
if
my
anybody
God,
is
I
looking
can't
for
wait to hear
more
this.
content, And Just Like Matt is the name of the podcast, and it
Margie.
dropped today, January 11th. It was so
Um,
fun.
I love that. It's going to be so good. I can't
He's
wait.
so lovely. He's just like the nicest, gentlest, funniest human being. It was a delight. It was a
Oh,
great
good.
hour.
Well, everyone, as you know the drill, please rate, review, and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram so you can get more information about the podcast that Margie was on this week. And we are at A Therapeutic Dose. And we will talk to you guys all next week.
Take care of yourselves, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Ramona and Margie are obviously not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.